welcome back to the episode. PK Wilson is back with us.
Yes,
that was quick, right? And we are happy that she's back.
You see what the Lord does for you?
Yes, most definitely. And we can, and she actually has a poem, and she's going to share with us one of her poems.
Yes.
PK, let's hear one of your poems.
All right.
And what's the title of this one?
This poem is called Hear Me.
Ah.
So, what's that old saying, I am woman, hear me roar? But deep down inside we cry, hear me, see my war. Every day I wake up to answer the battle, shout, but do you hear me? Do you see me cry? I have my ups and downs, I fight them every day, but do you hear me? Do you hear me when I pray? My bones are tired with the weight of the world I carry, but still in my life my love has seen me through. I have survived and even thrived, up and down, left and right I struggled. But who is here to help me with my fight? How many times, how many ways must I struggle to get ahead each and every day? Please hear me. Please know I am here, waiting.
Wow. Wow, what a powerful poem. What inspired you to write that one? Please hear me. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, until my friend becomes my enemy. That's according to PK Wilson, who we interviewed for the show today. PK Wilson lives in Panama. She's an American, but she currently resides with her husband in Panama, and she's been living there for over 3 years. She was here for a visit in Philadelphia, but in the suburbs of Philadelphia, Jenkintown, and I happened to journey with her today. And she's a retiree. She is a poet. She's now a poet. She actually was a pharmaceutical executive. She was an entrepreneur, and she wrote a poem. It's entitled Trials. Her latest poem, Trials, Tests, and Testimonies. And she actually shared that poem today on the episode. And she also shared another poem. It's entitled Lord Lift Me Up. She reveals that she is working on a new book. It is entitled Few, If Any Will Remember. Few, if any, will remember. It's about the Emit Till story, and her father or grandfather had written about Emit Till, and she is redoing that work. Of course, I asked her why she decided to reside in Panama, why she decided 3.5 years to leave the U.S. to reside in Panama. She is going to and she will reveal to you it has everything to do with Mr. Donald Trump. So the episode promises to be quite interesting, quite powerful, and she shares much more on the episode today. So please sit back, relax. This is the Neoliberal Realm podcast, and I'm Ronaldo McKenzie. And we have another episode that's coming up right after this. So we haven't done an episode in about several days. So we have several podcast episodes we're about to put out for you back to back. We interviewed a gentleman, a young man, about 19 years old, talking to me about the elections in Philadelphia and what's going on with young people and why they are so apolitical. This is the Neoliberal Realm podcast. We'll be right back after these messages.
Yes.
PK, let's hear one of your poems.
All right.
And what's the title of this one?
This poem is called Hear Me.
Ah.
So, what's that old saying, I am woman, hear me roar? But deep down inside we cry, hear me, see my war. Every day I wake up to answer the battle, shout, but do you hear me? Do you see me cry? I have my ups and downs, I fight them every day, but do you hear me? Do you hear me when I pray? My bones are tired with the weight of the world I carry, but still in my life my love has seen me through. I have survived and even thrived, up and down, left and right I struggled. But who is here to help me with my fight? How many times, how many ways must I struggle to get ahead each and every day? Please hear me. Please know I am here, waiting.
Wow. Wow, what a powerful poem. What inspired you to write that one? Please hear me.
Well, because being in corporate America
Yes.
and having my being also an entrepreneur,
Yes.
and also as a woman, 9 times out of 10, people don't listen to you.
Yes.
They
yes.
just don't hear you.
Ah.
And when you want to be heard and you have to stand up and as a woman talk loudly or curt to some people,
Yes.
unfortunately they call you the B word. They'll call
Yes.
you a bitch.
Yes.
You know, and you look at them and say, but a man can do the same thing and
Yes.
he's considered passionate, but I'm a bitch.
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
Why? Okay?
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
Explain that one to me.
Right.
And
yes.
this happens regardless of if you're talking about your professional life or even your
Yes.
personal life, even sometimes in relationships.
Yes.
You can be there, but you're not being heard.
Right.
You can say what you want, but nobody's paying attention to you.
Yes.
And that's why women, we say, I'm here waiting. These are the struggles that I have.
Yes.
I pray, but I'm still here waiting. And I'm waiting for someone to hear me.
Yes. And you have worked in corporate America.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I've worked in corporate America. My first job was with a major pharmaceutical company.
Yes.
I stayed with them for over 20 years. I was inside the big office, as they say, as
Yes.
an information scientist. I was a sales rep with them,
Yes.
you know, et cetera, et cetera. And then from there, I worked for another big corporation and headed up an information science division
Yes.
in which we would curate work specifically for major pharmaceutical companies or any company that was looking for curated work based upon their specifications.
Okay.
So I did that for a few years, and with that I was blessed to be able to travel the world.
Yes.
So I've been to Japan several times, I've crossed Europe constantly,
Yes.
all over the United States. And it gives you an idea of the fact that if you just stay where you are, you're really not going to grow. You have to
I
be
love
able
that.
to get out and move around. And that's why I always tell people you need to leave the United States to see what else is out there.
That was going to be my next question about, how have you changed? What are some of the perspectives going to all these countries over the years?
Very much my perspective has changed. You know, I don't feel like, it's funny, I'll give you an example.
Yes.
When I was leaving Panama last week,
Yes.
and I was, at the gate, there was this older man standing there. He was a white man.
Yes.
And he was standing at the sign that said, first class, business class, etc. And the attendant was looking at him saying, you need to move. And he's like, I'm not moving. See the sign? See, it says first class. This is me.
Yes.
This is where I belong. So I too was in first class with my husband. And as we stood up behind him, he had the nerve to say, well, they don't really speak English. So you just have to point things out to them. And I just looked at my husband. He looked at me, and I was thinking, what an obnoxious American.
Yes, yes.
How obnoxious can you be?
Oh, wow, yes.
And yeah, because literally at the airport, you have to have English as a second language. It is a requirement over there. So, notwithstanding that, yes, he was standing in Panama, yes.
Oh.
A lot of places, even at the major hotels, if you're standing and interfacing with people, you really need to know how to speak English.
Yes, yes.
You know, so you don't have to speak it completely well.
Yes.
But you do have to understand, you know, when people are coming up to you. And that's the saddest thing I've ever seen. When I see Americans come visit other countries, they treat people as being subservient.
Oh.
And that's just not right.
Yes.
So, yeah, I look at that and say, how would you like to be treated subserviently?
Yes.
They would. I know they would.
Yes, yes.
So, that's how that is.
Oh wow, that is so interesting. And now that you have, you know,
and that's just not right.
Yes.
So, yeah, I look at that and say, how would you like to be treated subserviently?
Yes.
They would. I know they would.
Yes, yes.
So, that's how that is.
Oh wow, that is so interesting. And now that you have, you know, you've written this poem about women, but you've written about you are interdisciplinary.
Yes, I am.
Okay, what are some of the major works you've done? Other kind of poems you've worked on?
Oh well.
And what gives you that slant, that particular title as to what? And there are many people who want to write. How do they get into
you pick up a blank journal book. It can be you remember the old black and white speckled composite books, composition books? Pick one of those up and just start writing. It doesn't have to make sense. You can start writing as a journal. I've always written. When I was a child, I loved to read books. I loved to read poetry.
Yes.
And I was involved in a poetry class in high school where we had to just sit down and start writing poetry. And then we were critiqued on this is right, this is wrong, this, that, or the other. And I studied all forms of poetry, haiku, classical poetry, modern poetry, this, that, and the other. Worked extremely well.
Wait, did you say haiku?
Haiku.
Haiku. I've never heard that before.
You've never heard of haiku?
Never. No. What is haiku?
Haiku is very, very interesting because it's only 3 lines, and it goes by a specific number of syllables that you can use in each line. It's 5, 7, 5, I believe. I may be wrong, but that's kind of what it is. So you literally have to find words that will fit into that parameter.
Oh. Wow, this is quite interesting. I studied Greek. I'm at Georgetown and I'm doing Doctor of Liberal Studies. I did Foundation 1, Foundation 2. One of the foundation courses we're looking at Homer in the Iliad, and then looking at oral traditions, and then looking at written traditions and how they went from the lyric style and so on and so forth. So it's a lot of poetry in the Iliad and in the writing. So now you're talking about haiku, and I'm like, this is quite intense.
Yeah. It's unbelievable because it really makes you stop and think about what you're trying to say.
Oh, wow.
It is very, very disciplined as to how you do that. And I too, when I was in college and also in prep school, had to read all of the Greek mythology.
Yes.
I loved it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic about how Homer actually came about.
Yes.
I loved history. I was actually a biology chemistry major and a minor in history.
Okay.
And I loved history because I found the world fascinating.
Yeah.
And I also found it sad because we constantly repeat the mistakes that we make.
Yes.
Where you look at things and say, well, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yes.
And then I say that's true, but there's another part to that until they become my enemy. Okay.
Yes.
So, and a perfect example of that would be like
we've
Afghanistan.
never heard that part. I love that edition.
Nobody hears that part.
I love that edition. Yes.
Yes. Because Afghanistan is a perfect example.
Yes.
When Russia was in there, what did we do? We helped Afghanistan beat Russia.
Yes. Yes.
And we were the liberators. But unfortunately, we take it too far.
Yes.
And then what happens years later? Then we go to war with Afghanistan because then they became our enemy. So you
Oh,
look at this
wow.
and you just go, does anybody not see this correlation going on?
Yes.
So that's really how I started. I started writing in my journals. I started creating my poetry. And because I had a life, as they say, I did not have the time to really think about publishing a book of poetry
Yes.
because I still had more life to live. And I'm still living a lot of life right now.
Yes.
But I'm into down to more of the testimonial state
Oh.
of life.
Yes, yes, yes.
And that's the most important part to me that I look at.
And what? Ooh. And what has your Do you have another poem you want to share with us? I see you're
Actually, I
looking.
think I do.
Yes, let's see. And by the way, your voice is so soothing.
Oh, thank you.
And you're gonna be doing that. And she's gonna be PK is gonna be doing a podcast soon. I can't wait to hear the podcast.
Yes.
For a moment there, I thought I was listening to WHYY, Fresh Air or something like that. I listen to a lot of WHYY.
Oh, I love it. Okay,
yes.
Here's another one. It's called Lord Lift Me Up.
Oh, okay, ready.
Every day before I wake up, I have but one constant prayer. Lord, lift me up. Before my feet even touch the floor, I breathe my prayer. Lord, lift me up. Before I move to acknowledge the day, I know my prayer. Lord, lift me up. My body is bent, my arms are sore, my feet are tired, but still I pray. Lord, lift me up. Lord, lift me up and make me whole to see the day and the world unfold. For in your grace I know no harm. I answer your call. My body is straight, my mind is clear. I have one thought. Please always be near. For every day you are my rock. You lift me up. You lift me up.
Wow. Now tell me, Lord, lift me up. What's going on here as you talk? I mean, and I can hear the haiku, the 5/7. I can hear it now, and I know why it's okay. So that's really beautiful. But
what every woman before she gets up has to say a prayer.
Yes.
Like, I need to make it through this day. I need some help. Lord, you have got to lift me up to make sure that I can get through this day.
Yes.
And there is not a day that goes by that I don't say a quick prayer of, Lord, lift me up today. It's going to be a great day. I know it is, but just lift me up.
Oh, wow.
And every woman does it. Every man probably does it as well.
Yes.
But I know every woman has to do it because of all that we have to carry with ourselves.
Now, that's powerful. And by the way, guys, if you forget, we're talking with PK Wilson.
Yes.
And she's an amazing, dynamic, powerful woman, an American now living in Panama, and she's just talking about her experiences, about life, and we are really getting a lot of juicy information. They said that communication is to make popular what was the monopoly. And this is what's happening here. Now tell us what is it that helped you to change? Because people who, for those of us who are listening to the podcast, they might have missed that part when we were talking earlier. I mean, what is it that convinced you that you need to move from the U.S. and go to Panama?
One word. Name is Trump.
A lot of people move because of Trump.
Yes. I mean, but the other thing too is I would always say throughout my life, I said, when I retire, I want to see beach. I want to have shorts, bathing suits, a cabana boy, and cable or Wi-Fi, as I like to say. So
I like that.
And then it just all came together. It came together, and again, I was told, do you want to move? I said, I'm ready to go. So, my husband is my second husband. And the funny thing about it, I'll tell a very short, quick story, was the fact that we knew each other 40 years ago.
Oh.
In fact, we were engaged 40 years ago. And unfortunately, we went our separate ways, and I kind of felt like I was, how do you say it, in the desert like the Israelites.
Yeah.
So, back in 2016, I got a LinkedIn message from a person, and I just looked at it. I'm looking around saying, okay, this can't be who I think this is. But it was.
Oh.
And I, answered, and we became LinkedIn friends.
Yeah.
And we started talking because he was actually coming back up to the Philadelphia area to take care of his mother for a few years.
Right.
And next thing you know, after about 6 weeks of talking, we met and we realized, oh my goodness,
in 500 feet,
we missed something.
It was as if you guys were talking yesterday.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, it was. We missed it. And that's when we realized that God is giving us a second chance.
Yes.
So it was one of those things where you could either say, no, I'm not going to listen to God, and I'm not going to do what I should be doing, or I'm going to listen to God.
Yes.
And we listened. And that's why we are here where we are.
Oh, wow. There's so many people that, have relationships in the past that, didn't work out and come full circle. I've never heard of this situation where you can actually get a chance to
do it again.
A second chance, so to speak.
Yes.
And how is it? How are you guys doing now?
We're doing great.
That's
a little
good.
rocky at the front because, it was getting to know somebody that you knew 40 years ago. And that's a lifetime. So both he and I, had to realize that we'd been through stuff. He had gone through his stuff. I went through my stuff.
Yes.
And then we had to leave all that stuff behind. So he helped me grow in so many ways to go back to the person that I was, and realize that I had so much more to give.
Yes.
And that's where we are right now.
Giving in your poems, your writing.
Yes, my writings. Like I said, I've got about 3 or 4 more. I'm actually in the middle of writing 3 or 4 books.
Nice.
Yes, that I absolutely can't wait to hurry up and get them published. And then I actually have a book that my father wrote back in 1994 that I have revived, and I'm bringing it out. It's called Few, If Any, Will Remember. And it is a fictionalized version of the Emit Till story.
Oh, wow. I've got to find this book.
It hasn't come out yet. It's not published yet. Right now we're in the middle of editing it.
Oh.
And once the editing is done, I will let you know. But this book that he wrote, I'm extremely proud of him.
Yes.
Because he was going to stop writing, and I said, no, you can't. You have got to finish this book.
Yes.
Because this book needs to be out. And with everything going on now, and the fact that the entire Emit Till story has been revived.
I was just about to tell you that.
Yes, his accuser finally died.
Yes.
I do think that this book will hit home for a lot of people.
Yes, there's been quite a lot of talk about this Emit Till story. I just recently saw some news about it, and so it's quite interesting in terms of the whole police brutality as well. And
because it's still going on.
Yes.
That's the whole sad part about life. It is still going on.
Yes. Guys, we are talking with PK Wilson, and she's an amazing, powerful woman. Please find out some more about her. Get her book when it comes out. Get her poems. Yes?
Yes, it's Trials, Tests, and Testimonies.
Trials, Tests, and Testimonies.
Yes. Oh, there it is.
There it is. Well, straight ahead. Well, thank you so much. And we are going to have her on the show again. And we can't wait to hear the next book. I mean, and the Emit Till book, I don't know what's going to be called.
That is the next book. Few, if any, will remember.
Few, if any, will remember.
That will be the next book that comes out.
Thank you so much. Well, guys, this is the Neil Lubow podcast. Visit us at theneillubow.com and RonaldoCMcKenzie.com. Remember, we're all about serving the world today to solve tomorrow's challenges by making popular what was the monopoly, what good. And that's the end. And that's great. I'm going to follow you. Let me stop it. This was great.
Yes.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Neoliberal Round podcast. And just so you know, the neoliberal.com and ronaldocmckenzie.com, our websites are down temporarily. We are working on them. We are also expanding our website to include our bookstore so that you can have all our books and our blogs and our materials and periodicals and journals and so on available in one place, one bookstore. Just so you know, you can visit us at, you can support this show by going to anchor.fm/the neoliberal/support. We do need your support so that we can continue to provide this show and we can expand the programming. Please let us know how we're doing. Participate in the community page, and we are available on iHeartRadio, Radio Public, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, The Audible, Google Podcast, P Adverb, Podvine. Did I say iHeartRadio, iTunes, Apple Podcast? I probably said that already, and several other podcasts that I do not know of. But please, we are available in over 30 countries on any stream. So visit us, share the show with your friends, and let us know how we're doing. And stay tuned for another episode that will be coming up next tomorrow. We will showcase a young man who is talking about growing up in Philadelphia. I mean, briefly, and about young people and how apolitical they are. But because of the interview I had with him, he decided that he was going to participate in this year's mayoral race. And it begins with having the discussions, he says. It begins by having the discussions like these. This is the Neoliberal Round podcast. Well, good.